anyone who have been in Europe, then went to North America, then went to Africa, can tell you this. Those are two different continents. And why? It's only because of one thing, the way we are housing. Just that. Go to Europe. Europe, you find big, huge chunk of land where people are doing farming and other parts are maintained as forest and they are protected. Go to North America. The best thing is they have a big piece of land where they have scattered people who live all over the state. You find that there is someone who lives 40 kilometers away from where he works, and on top of that, they still have a land where is left for public and forest. All is because they have big, huge space, and people in this country had moved to stay in town and they don't want to stay in the suburb. Go to Africa. Everywhere you go, there is someone who is living there. They are destroying forest. Apart from starting from 2010, when the government started enforcing the rule of trying to stop people from destroying the forest, all people were doing was to encroach the forest slowly by slowly and starting living there and starting residential there. With that kind of resident, with that kind of people living in a far away from one another, it become hectic in every form of service the government want to offer. Let me tell you, for example, if you go to some part of Africa, it's not that the government cannot want to connect people to national grid or connect people to electricity. It's impossible because you find that people are living 100 to even almost a kilometer far away from one another. So if, let's say, for example, the government wants to supply this electricity, they will be using a lot of resources to reach a group of 10 people. They will use the same resources in Europe. You find that the government use just to reach a population of over 100,000 people. Why? Because they live at the same place. I don't know who told African and bigger part of North America that living in an apartment it's something wrong. Living in an apartment it's for young generation, it's for poor people, it's for people who have no plan or hope in future. Why? Let's take, for example, you go to Europe, you find that an 80-year-old person, not only an 80, people die of age still living in an apartment. Living in an apartment in Europe is a normal thing. People have been doing it for the longest time possible. Why? It's not because they don't have land where they can construct more houses and whatever. No, because they know if we go construct more house there, we go outside the town. And they love to be in somewhere where you can just wake up and walk by something you want to come back. And by doing so, they have been able to maintain everything they have. Let's take, for example, go to North America or even in Africa. If there is a company which have employed people here, in case it happened to fail, the town just die. Why does the town die? Because we were there relying on this job. But if you go to the bigger part of Europe, you find that there is like 20 of that company in this town. And the best thing why the company can have enough confidence to start there is because this has been place where people have been residing for over even 100 or 200 years. People don't move around a lot. And by knowing that even if today there was a company which was employing people for mining which have died and collapsed, there is also another company for which is employing people. There is maybe a power generation company, there is a company which is food processing. They are all in this city. The city don't just go down. Right now, bigger part of malls in North America, they are just going down. They don't have business. People are not operating them because bigger part of North America and these cities are just created for people to use temporarily. They have a temporary living thing. In Europe, they don't do that. You find that like it's easy to find a building which was constructed 18 something, still people living in that place. And even if they demolish that building, they build another better building in the same place instead of going to encroach another land. It's very easy to find a compound of maybe 20 square meter where people in Germany, and you find that in those ordinary buildings are hosting over 100,000 people in it. Go to place like North America or Africa, in 20 square meter, that place, if it have more people, it only have allowed 1,000 people. Why? Because we have this belief of building lowest house, of building houses on your own compound, and you are like left wondering, why do you need it to be on your own compound? That things, to me, I do see it just affect our children. It affects how they socialize, because you find that it's better in place like North America, there is no crime and that much crime. In Africa, when you build your house on your own compound, you also build a very huge perimeter fence which is 3 meter tall. So the only time these children can go out, it's when you are allowed and you give them rule. Go take for example those children in Europe. Even their parents sometimes don't know where they are. They just wake up, take the bike and go to play. Then come back at the evening. They are just allowing their children to be independent, to think for themselves. Let's go to North America. If a children want something, a parent have to be involved until that children reach at the age of 16, when he or she can be able to drive to go wherever they want. Why? Anything you want to buy is a 20 or 30 kilometer away from where you live, and that's why you see sometimes when you go maybe to look for satellite image, you see some very ugly image of a huge building, but it have a very huge parking. You see a building of maybe a building which occupy around an acre piece of land. It have a parking lot of over 10 or 30 acre. So it's a big piece of land which has been cemented so that to allow people to park. And by doing so, my question is this: how far are we waiting to go so that we can realize it is not attainable anymore? Every country these days, you find majority of them, their population is increasing slowly by slowly. So let's take for example this country where you find that people construct going outside the city. Where is the limit? Because you find 10 years ago the limit was 10 kilometers from the city, that where people were constructing. Now they are at least at 20 kilometers. Before you know, they will be at 70 kilometers away from the city. What we are doing is to reduce piece of land which can be used for nature, which can be used for farming, and we continue building houses and houses. And the worst thing is, in all these countries I'm talking about, North America and Africa, housing is not considered as a basic human right. It's considered as a form of investment, and that's where we went wrong. That's why you find that yes, we continue building housing. If you go to maybe in a small country of maybe 2 million people, you can count and find that in this country there is over 3 million housing. So by default, everyone should be having a house, but that's not the case. What happened in this country is you find that the person who bought the same house, the first house, went ahead and built or bought the second house, went ahead and bought or built the third house, all because that this is an investment opportunity. He knows very well with housing the price doesn't go down, it keep going up. And with that, we cannot ever have a way where people will receive what they deserve. Lands in Africa is being divided every single day. The places where you could find there is large number of land which was being used for farming. You find that it's 100 or even 1,000 acre was for farming. Immediately when the owner is done and is tired with farming, what do you find after a month? You find that the property have been subdivided into small plots so that it can be sold to the people, so that it can be sold for the people to construct there. People don't care whether it is in a farming area or what. The fact that there is an available land, they are just subdividing to sell them for people to construct their house there. Then after some time, you find that countries start worrying, oh, we are having issue with food security. We'll have to suffer from food security. Why? Let me ask you, if we construct the house all over where we are supposed to be farming, how the hell do we expect to produce food? Go ask the government. It does not care. It doesn't ask anyone, because as people they are constructing, as people they are subdividing and buying this property, the government is getting the tax. But this is a short-term goal. The government is willing to lose the bigger picture for a short-term goal, instead of it to be able to focus on the long-term goal. I wish we can reach to a point where the government now can say, you know what, this is the farthest you can go. This low-risk house from this and this place cannot exist. We need now people to start building, going up. Yes, we need bigger house, but not going wide and whatever. It's going up and up and up. Sky is the limit. And since no one have so far reached the sky, we should start building going up. Yes, I'm not saying those big, huge house tall where you now start worrying about earthquake and some natural calamity. But if we can go to place like in North America, a place where 1,000 people have occupied can be served by only one apartment. And that one apartment will have some apartment which are for people to live. They will have some area where they will have a park. They will have an area where they have school. They have the same area where they have a mall, a entertainment area, things like that. And you'll find that these 1,000 people who have occupied this area have occupied close to maybe 100 acres. But if we can combine them, we'll find that we all only need minimum of 5 acre and maximum of 10 acre. The rest can be used as a forest so that people can go to enjoy their life there, and they will have a very good social life where you can wake up and go have fun with your neighbor. But we don't want that, so we keep building, because you see, I think what happened in this country, you find that the government is like, it's not my issue. The person who will come after me, the person who will succeed me, will come to face the issue. If you go to the president, he is like, I'm here for maybe 10 or 8 years. After that, I'm going. Another person will come and he will live the same way. So when these people come in the office, they don't want to deal with this problem, because they're like, furthermore, I'm here for a short time. The person who will come after me will deal with it. By doing that, we keep pushing ahead and ahead and ahead. And before we can realize, we'll have nothing. As I'm talking right now, it's very difficult in Africa, let's say for example in Kenya, to find 100-acre piece of land unless you are in the desert. If you go to these very fertile places like Mount Kenya region, where people used to do a lot of farming, in Rift Valley, in Kajiado, where people used to do a lot of farming, you cannot imagine you are in the same place, because there is nothing there to be seen apart from people who have built very low-risk house in every corner. You just walk, there is a low-risk house. You find that even the government, it is spending a lot of money to build road connectivity, to connect all these people. Like you find in Europe, they only have, let's say a place like in Germany, they have maybe 20 big city and maybe 5 or 10 village. Let's even say they have 40 village. So they have total of 60 places to connect. The rest is just a highway which will be passing in between to go to connect those people. And the fact that you are producing your electricity in nearby, it's easy. The issue is in Kenya, everywhere, or in Africa or North America, every person is in a different place. And all they are demanding is the government to tarmac our road, the government to connect us to a national grid, we need to be connected to internet. Those company or these people who are doing that, maybe they can connect you, but they will be forced to charge you very heavily, because the amount of in connecting you to their services was so huge. At the starting, the amount of money they spent to connect you was insanely crazy, because you are far away together. I wish we can start seeing now people have started accepting to live together, and in that way, if it's electricity, would just be taking electricity in one direction to that village or town, connect everyone. The road will be going to that town, connect everyone. It will be easy to maintain the road, because the people who are in that place will be giving us enough tax to maintain and service this, to maintain and services this service we are giving them. But instead of that, we want to continue connecting people who are miles and miles away with water, electricity, internet. Even that why I find it very difficult for even construct a good hospital. You are constructing a hospital which is serving 10 people. It's not possible. Thank you, and subscribe, like, and comment.